should we start with you?
With me? All right. So, as you know, but not all you guys know, I'm Ella, and I've been working here for like 8 months now. Since, this entire year I've been here and you're so good at presenting me, but I would call myself the production manager, and I help you with like every part of the process from roasting the coffee to sending it away. And so that's who I am.
That's good.
Yes, and even though it's so fun answering all these questions about myself, it's not why we're sitting here. So, when I arrived here 8 months ago, we wanted to do a podcast about you guys, because I believe there's a lot of the guys who drinks your coffee are very interested about you. So we sat here 8 months ago and we started, and I had all these questions written down, and I had no idea who you were. I'm like, I was equal as interested. And then something happened with, I don't know, was it the video or sound? And
should we double check it?
Yeah. And we just gave up. Like, oh, no way. All right, let's do this next week. No.
Video is recording, sound is recording.
It's all working.
Yeah, it's going to be a podcast day today.
Yeah.
We have more visitors coming in, but more of those later. Yeah, it's a fun story that you were like 8 months ago. You're like, but what's your background story? And I was like, let's sit down and do it. And you were super nervous, and I was nervous. We were brand new with the podcast.
Yeah,
and
I was brand new here.
Everything just went black, I think.
Yeah. And then we were like, we can do it next week. And then we were too busy. And then we were too busy.
8 months later.
And now, in August, finally.
Yes. So, what's your question?
Oh, I have so many. So, you have been working with, coffee for so many years, and you've been at like every coffee place in Stockholm. Like everybody, I've been to you on the newsroom. Like, I've been there. So you've been like so central in the coffee scene in Sweden, in Stockholm. But where did it all start? When did you found out you had this interest?
At first, I didn't really know. I was working at. Okay, let's take this in chronological order. How do you say it?
Yeah, chronological.
Okay, good.
I got it.
I think we go back to 2004. That's 20 years ago.
Yep. Whoa. I was 1 year old.
We had a small summer cafe at Gotland with my family. I didn't know anything really about coffee, but probably the foundation of service came from there. After like a summer, of course, with everything I do, I thought I was the king of the world. And then my wife, who I just met back then, introduced me to a friend of her friend or something like that. She came, and I remember like pouring my cappuccinos with a spoon and like, oh yeah. And then she came and like poured a Rosetta, and that was so mind-blowing. And I was so embarrassed because I really thought my cappuccinos were dope. I don't know if it's like the years are super correct, but I remember later working at Clarion Hotel, and we did layered cappuccinos. So when you make like Irish coffees, you used sometimes a spoon, but in most cases you try to get the whipped cream on top, like on a solid layer. And if you do that in a transparent glass, you have 2 layers. But if you do cappuccinos, you actually could make it so you get like a coffee layer, a coffee and milk layer, and a foam layer, if you do it correctly. And that was like so cool. But then my world kind of started turning upside down with that cappuccino story. I couldn't really figure out how she did it. But anyhow, I think, back then at Clarion, I started to get introduced to flavors, a lot of good wines. We had some super exclusive cognac that I had the opportunity to try, and I don't know if I could kind of spot the flavors or just something happened in me that they were like, I think this is fun. That work turned into a lot of late nights and stuff like that. So I realized I think I need to get out of this bartender sphere because it's not good for me. And somewhere back then we had started experimenting with a espresso bar called Tvålpalatset in my father's like event venue at Mariatorget. And it kind of quickly... Let's see if I just remember everything correctly. I think maybe before that or during that period, I met Alexander, who we now run Standout together with, which is a nice story. But he introduced me to specialty coffee for real. And I think in that time we had Tvålpalatset, but I think we did like Italian ecological dark roast style.
Yeah.
Like this super nice espresso bar. But
it was what you came from, like at
yeah,
that cafe, Gavlan, and I had this place.
I didn't know
exactly.
anything else.
Exactly.
So he took me because he was like, I think you know a bit of wine and you know you should really try this out, because he was kind of the and we're going to record another podcast with him in Centrum, but he was kind of the foundation of the Swedish and coffee scene. He was a well-known photographer and super coffee geek. He was leading forums and being all over. He was one of the first guys to bring in one group, Linnea Lamarsocco, into his home, and being able to start experimenting and share thoughts around that. But anyhow, he brought me to a bookshop called Konstig that was on Skånegatan, I think. And there was two guys, Per and Alexander. Per is still working in Systembolaget as one of their absolute best wine tasters. Alexander is now in music, I think. But he was also like really into this foundation or the seed of the specialty coffee scene. He started to kind of write a book, and they had this pop-up in this in this bookshop, and you come in and you weren't allowed to make a sound because it was like a dead silent bookshop, so it's kind of strange. So they were like, sorry guys, I'm just gonna grind some beans. And they had a single espresso from Colombia, I think it was from Huila, for like 46 kroners or something. And for me it was like,
and that was crazy back then as well.
Espressos cost 10.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was something completely different, and no one came. But I realized that there was a huge gap in the market here. So with that piece and Tvålpalatset, that we kind of had like in a 3-group espresso machine, because we started doing events, so we bought like a 2 big espresso machine. And then my stepmom, who's I don't know what scenograph is in Swedish English, but
I think it's probably the same thing.
She works with movies, decorate stuff. Great person. She had a venue close by where she had like all the clothes and stuff that she needed to get rid of. So for a short period of time, we had Tvålpalatset, an espresso bar. I bought that venue to kind of do like a co-working space. This was 2008. So Alexander was the first guy to hire a desk there, because he was like, I want to support this project. I'm now somewhere else. And we had a few more. It was, I think, maybe a year where we had both. And then Eric Rosendal came in, journalist back then, lover of breads and bakeries, and huge passion for coffee, what it seemed. So we two brought Alexander on this kind of coffee inspiration trip. Alexander had back then, because I think the Linnea Mini in his home was too big or something, broke or something, so he got it to the workspace. So we could start experimenting with espressos there. And then like friends and family came over and had an espresso, and we had Tvålpalatset and realized we were short of staff. So we closed Tvålpalatset, which was sad, but it had to be so.
It had to, yes.
And then I think we were out of espresso bar for a short period of time, but realized I think we have to do this. So we went on this trip down to Eric's parents in the most southern part of Sweden, Abbekås. And we hanged out with Per Norby, who's now his Café Räven. Back then he worked at Amateo, and some of the people that now run Morgon was back then all around. I don't know if we also went to Oslo for some reason, or if that was later. Never mind. We asked Alexander because we were like, oh, okay, should we do this? Should we open a proper specialty coffee bar at Södermalm? And we asked Alexander if he wanted to be part of the company. And he kindly said no. He wanted to pursue his journey within like coffee, I don't know, and also photography.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but he took a spot in the basement. Or first, he had his desk upstairs, and we put up a wall, and we started a cafe. And we didn't know what to call it, but we knew that from Asia there were rumors coming in of this like drip coffee wave, like people doing pour overs and stuff. And a little back and forth, I thought that drip was a bit in Swedish called nasalt.
Yeah.
Like the eye
Drip.
goes up into your nose.
Drip.
Yeah. So I thought, would work better with coffee. So it actually from the beginning didn't have anything to do with the coffee drop, like a drop of coffee. It was just
the sound. It sounded better.
It sounded better. It looked better.
Yeah,
like the
that's
O's
true.
And everything, and the C together with them. Yeah, so we for like 2 years we were like no drop on the drop coffee, but then it was too obvious and kind of. I think now there's a beautiful tear or drop on the box. So yeah, we started Drop Coffee 2009, and the rest is kind of history. I think it's a true foundation, like a true masterpiece in one way. It's been around for so long now, and but back then we didn't know anything. We built everything from scratch from what we had. But then people started really to come by, and during the same time frame, Johan and Nyström opened their concept store right across the street. And we were like, fuck, this is gonna go bad because they will steal all the clients. But in the end, and then there's the Cafe Bar, who was also starting to grow their business right next by. And all places were filled during the weekends. Like Mariatorget became this kind of coffee mecca. You could go there. We had customers who like hanged out at Johan Nyström in the morning, came to us in the evening, and then in the night they went to Cafe Bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was such a nice community. And yeah, it kind of grew from there. We had to throw out the last working people that were still occupying half of the venue, and then we realized we're like our core wholesale client today at Standout is this multi-shop roaster who buys from all over, and that's who we started as. We bought from Team Vendelbo, Copy, Haugard, Damateo, and even brought some stuff in from the States since Alexander was living there a bit.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It was super cool. We didn't know anything about pricing, and I think we sold everything too cheap. But we realized that we wanted to take this a step further. So we got ourselves a 1 kilo Gießen roaster in shop. And that was a huge step for us. And we started roasting in the shop. And I think from there, everything kind of took off for Drop. Like more and more clients came, and we got more ridden and got some like international bus as well. So eventually we bought the neighboring store, which was an antique store. So they moved one step down, and we tear the wall down. So we had some more seats, and we also started looking at a bigger roasting venue because we got clients asking for coffee, and we thought that this is gonna be more than just
Yeah.
the cafe. So we signed a lease on a beautiful space in what is the name? Västberga.
Excellent.
And it was a little bit too big. I think we didn't realize it back then. Even the roaster that Drop still has was back then too big. It was a 25 kilo Diedrich.
Oh, okay.
And I got it to be turquoise, which is super
Iconic.
beautiful color.
Yes, so iconic.
Color still
Yep.
around. And we then I got a little bit like disconnected from the bar, because I started roasting together with Eric, and we were a lot at the roastery, and then we suddenly signed for a second espresso bar.
Okay.
So we opened up at Östgötagatan, Kärvsgatan, together with like an some architects who had like a co-working space as well.
Yeah.
That was tough because two shops are way more than one, because you need like you can't cover both. If that was
Exactly,
the
it's not
start
just double the
No.
effort, it's more.
So that got closed. So that's just but it was a nice journey to try.
Yeah.
If we ever at Standout open one bar, I think we should open 10 instead.
Yeah.
Because 1 to 2
Exactly.
is a huge step.
Yep.
So it's better just go
0
10.
to 10.
Yeah, go 0 to 10. We got introduced to competitions. Barista competitions. There was
You
Arla,
and,
me and
US
Alexander,
dropped like everybody.
Nico, there were Johan Morén, who's now CEO of Johan Nyström. Benjamin
wow.
was working there, who's now one of the...
So the drop
roaster.
team? Or,
Yeah.
Oh,
The-
so you all were just like...
Everyone came from
Everyone?
Drop. Yeah,
Oh,
and then
wow.
we had Johan Nyström right next to the street with
Of
all
course.
their people.
Mm.
We started competing, and we kind of broke the game in Sweden. I think we won most competitions from 2011 and for a few years. We won Brewers, Barista. We had latte art champions, and both me and Alexander won our our titles as in Barista Cup.
Yeah.
We went to Bogota to compete in the Worlds, which was a huge experience and something that we learned so much from. Once again, we came there, we thought we were like, oh man, we will crush this game.
Yeah, like, got
I
this.
don't know what
worries.
spot we came on, but it was not good. But that was also a story that I've been telling, like the foundation of Standout, because we were looking at the finals, asking ourselves, Alejandro Mendes, who won that year, where can we buy his coffee? Because it sounded so amazing. And it was like non-existing. There was probably too few kilos, and the price would have been, I don't know. But that question kind of followed me through my career after that. So,
Yeah.
but we'll come back to that later. We then competed in Vienna, in the Brewers. I competed in Melbourne in Barista. And I think it was 2012 that I saw this super charismatic girl on stage doing this strawberry drink. And I've heard rumors that she's been working in Norway. And she just like, same as this latte art experience on Gotland before, she kind of was like, oh my God, this is next level.
Oh.
And so we started talking, and then Joanna joined the team as a barista.
Oh, wow.
And then when, after my journey to Melbourne, and I also won Nordic Barista Cup. It was back then. I was team captain for Sweden. We went to Brazil, Brazil, and then we went to Colombia. Me and Alex were like, we need to go to Panama.
Yeah.
So we went to Panama, and somewhere along those lines, I was like, I want to do something new. Because Drop was kind of being this, growing into something more than just a entrepreneurial startup. I don't know. So after 5 years, Joanna and Eric took the captain hat and went full out drop coffee. And I started working at, it was quite controversial, but I started working at Johan Nyström.
Yeah.
And I remember when I were on my first meeting with Johan Damgaard, I was like, and he was like, what do you want to do at Johan Nyström? I was like, I want to run the e-commerce business. And he was like,
Exactly.
no, that's nothing. You like, or he said, yeah, or as he always says, yeah. Do what you want, but you have to prove it. And because we at Drop Coffee I started the first e-commerce store 2011, I think, through a shop called Ticktail, and who were later bought by Shopify. And one of the guys I hanged out with, he's now like, I don't know, super high up in Shopify, which is cool, living in New York and doing his thing. So, but they helped us out a lot. And a kind of a small seed of like, this is something new kind of got into me, because there was literally always, Drop was always full on weekends. And I asked Eric, like, imagine if we only can have like 2,000 seats.
Yeah.
Then we could make 2,000 cappuccinos. But we only had like 9 seats.
Yeah, so it's very Pascals, as we call it. Big, small, big one.
We started the e-commerce store. I started, as I am like a super geeky person, who kind of just goes all in on a few stuff, whether it's like the Rubik's Cube or some game or coffee or I don't know. So I had like coffee and e-commerce going into Johan Nyström, and also my like maybe being kind of a famous barista. So I did a lot of QCs and a lot of I was on a team like experimenting with new coffee bars and stuff, but the core business was building their e-commerce site. And it was a super exciting journey, tough in the beginning, because all the sales team and clients and stuff, they're like, what are you doing? You're gonna steal our traffic and steal our clients, and people won't buy stuff from us since they're buying directly from you. But it kind of took like a year, and then I know Matthias Dellerhagen, who's a great sales guy and a coffee man at Johan Nyström. He came back to me and said, like, in this shop in Dalarna, they have suddenly raised their sales by Johan Nyström by over 30%. And we figured out it was all thanks to you, because the marketing that Johan Nyström now, and you put into like broadening the brand to get like these beautiful videos and photos and stories out, it helps their customer, because they don't want to buy online, but they started to go on like Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So the brand got more recognized. So when they got into the Bönans coffee shop, whatever it's called, they were like, oh, I know this.
I recognize it.
And they bought it.
Wow.
So that was interesting, like marketing. Because then I transitioned into be part of the marketing team, which is now normal with like e-commerce writers and marketing people.
Yeah, I know. Coexist. Work together, exactly.
So, I was there for quite a long time. Johan Nyström got bought by Espresso House, by JAB, who bought Espresso House, who then bought Johan Nyström, because they needed a coffee roastery. And when I came back from a second parental leave, I got a call from Espresso House, and they needed a digital marketing manager. So I got picked over to them. It was a super, super exciting and great experience. But some time along those lines, around 2019, 2020, I don't know exact. It was like the beginning of Corona as well.
Yeah.
I realized this was kind of too far from my core passion.
Yeah.
So I decided to try something new. So I went into hardware, working with Lamar Sokos at Espresso Specialisten. And then Corona fully hit. So it never really started off. No. So I said to Alexander, because we were hanging out, he was part of the venue at Espresso Specialist and started like slowly growing Standout. I know Standout Coffee has its first Facebook posts around 2015 actually, which is quite cool.
It's actually really.
I said to him, man, you need a checkout button because you
Yeah.
have so much cool coffees.
Yes.
Even though it's only was like, I remember he had like 4 kilos of this and 1 kilo of that. It was
This is crazy.
Yeah, this is so much
This is,
geisha.
oh my god. Yes.
He had a 1 kilo roaster, but he started to kind of go far in some competitions, and it was something slowly happening. So he said to me like, yeah, the day you quit your full-time job, let's do this. And I was like, I can't do this. I have a family and stuff.
Sorry,
but
I don't want to risk
it was
exactly.
I wasn't really happy with the situation, and it was actually my wife who said like, go do it, which is very, very strong of her. But she gave me 1 year.
Yeah. Smart.
And some days it's like, you only had 1 year. I was like, yeah, no, now it's up to 3. But hopefully Standout is gonna work out. We built the site during full COVID, during a summer, and then it is where we are now. The site was finally kind of done.
Yeah.
I've been back and forth with Shopify as an e-commerce engine during my time at Johan & Nyström, but I never worked at it full out, but I knew its potential. And so when we decided to go, I never thought of anything else. And I'm super happy for what they do and how everything works out. Because when we started building the site, I knew there were a global company. So of course it's going to be harder with support. But if you go to a global engine, then you have like a global checkout.
Yeah.
And I saw that the interest for buying Alexander's or Standout's coffees before it even existed as a company was from people also abroad. So we went with an English site from the beginning. We actually had euro as our main currency.
Oh.
And our first substantial order was from China. So, and I remember that sound because when you make a sales, if you have the sound on, it's like
bling. Yeah, it's really money.
And I was like, oh my god, they bought the 90 plus geisha, and this is crazy. What are we gonna pack it in? I have no clue. So we had a few months of like just plain white bags.
Yeah.
But that's fine. The coffee inside was great.
Yeah.
So back at Drop Coffee, we had this design meeting. I think it was me, Eric. I can't really remember if Joanna was already in the picture, and then a designer called Simon. And we had bought coffee from all the cool coffee roasteries from all around the world, and everything was on the table.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, and what path should we go? And I remember like saying myself, shouldn't we do a box or something like that? Like and everyone's like, box? Why no one uses boxes? This was 2013, must have been something like that.
Yeah.
12. But I was like, coffee has become in boxes for ages. Like all the big brands, Gevalia, Löfbergs, everything has this like kind of boxy thing. And yeah, I think that is the rest is history. Because after that, I don't know if Drop was first with the box, but we were very early. Especially into specialty. And then everyone went with boxes. So that is something that I'm super proud of being part of, had like kind of guts to do it. And when we decided to go and design our box, of course I'm inspired what happened with Drop. And but when we designed our black box, I had, as I said, kind of Instagram in mind. So you can open it up, you can see all everything. And we had this beautiful story from a client in New York, Brian, who said like, your box is like an opera. Like there's a famous opera house in New York, that is super beautiful on the outside and super beautiful in the inside. But when you open your box, the producer is the singer. And I think that is a very, very beautiful set. And I think that how I want people to take photos of the box and how to present it to friends, kind of open it up and show it. There's a little bit too many people taking photos of the backside of the box. It's okay, because I know they want to showcase the information, but usually
you make such pretty stickers. You have to make it not
I know, but
so
they want to
pretty.
show everything, and I realize that, of course, I understand them, but usually on Instagram, those letters becomes too small.
You zoom in.
So it's better to open it up and just show the beans and the producer.
Yeah, 'cause
So
that's very nice.
anyhow, I'm super proud of our new box experience and how it turned out with the right now 2x50. I don't know if you're gonna go back to 100 again someday, but it's a super nice experience, and I'm looking forward to, because we have more design-ish thoughts coming up soon in both 1 kilo and 250, which is gonna be super fun to start experiment with. More information about that later. Yeah, the e-commerce site was my first fully personal project, I think, and coming from my years at Johan Nyström, because the problem with e-commerce is that you're on a medium or small company, you're always alone, because there's not enough sales or to kind of put in more people. Of course, we had someone doing packaging, but like it requires a quite big e-commerce engine. Like Say, for example, they have like 3 people working with only putting products online and stuff like that, which is super cool. But then you need to really start pushing a lot of coffees. But at Johan Nyström in the beginning, it was only me, and we had a graphic designer who was also a good photographer, and I kind of asked him gently sometimes, can we take some photos and stuff? Because it all ends up like, okay, everything is up online. Now everything works. Where are the clients? Where are our customers? Where's the traffic? And how do you bring traffic into a site in modern days? Yeah, you do great content. And how do you make great content? You need to be able to take photos and make videos.
Yeah.
And then you need to be able to edit them and know about resolutions and how to upscale and downscale and get the sound right, because that is something else that is a deep rabbit hole. And I shouldn't say in any means that I'm perfect of anything, but I've learned a lot during these years. And even though to be able to record this podcast or do content online, it helps us now to generate traffic, because that's what it ends up to, like a newsletter or an Instagram post or whatever, to actually open the doors, because that's what you do. You open your doors to your e-commerce site, and people come in, and if they come in, they want to go around like a normal shop, and hopefully you have products that they are attracted to. We have, in many cases, very exclusive products.
Yeah.
In some cases, people, I think, come to our store just to like, is this actually real? Can you buy a coffee for 1,300 euros a kilo? And they're happy just to have seen it. Like, maybe like a museum. And that's a good thing with us going kind of global directly, because there is, if you can find the client, the price isn't a problem. If you're selling bicycles or stereos or whatever, there's expensive or exclusive stuff in all markets, but you just need to find the client. But the problem in Sweden is that most people require coffee to be burnt and for free. So that's why I think we are gonna stick with just e-commerce global.
Yeah.
To make products that the coffee lover wants, or maybe dreams of. Then we have clients who like, I want coffee, and then just maybe we can fix that for them. But the core product is the bag and the box and everything, with super good coffee in it. We started a subscription.
Yeah.
Because we have a shop, we need to drive in traffic, and we need to make sales. And how do you make good sales online, and how do you make long-term sales, and how do you build a customer base? subscription. So we went with a competition subscription, and we launched it. I think it's 2 years now. I think we were sitting at Lycke's new coffee bar, just wrote everything. We had everything, and we were like, should we send this newsletter now? Are we actually going online?
We're actually going to.
Before we sent that, we had 3 months of alpha and beta tests where we chosen baristas from around the world that, because I was very new to sending stuff abroad.
Yeah.
At Johan Nyström, everything was in Sweden, some parts Finland. But now we got requests, or we had because Alexander had a huge network of baristas. So he chose 20 baristas all around the world, and we gave them, I think they paid for the shipping or something like that. And they had to come in with feedback. Does the coffee even arrive?
Yeah.
Does it work?
Exactly. Does it even work?
And we had this code that gave them 75% rebate or whatever. That during when we launched it, it leaked on South Korea's biggest coffee forum.
Oh my god!
So overnight we were big in Japan, but big in South Korea.
Yes.
And we were like, oh no! I realized when I made the code, I didn't put any restrictions into it. I don't know. It was I meant to do it because I knew it could leak, and if it leaked, what happens? I don't really remember, but it leaked. And we contacted all of those clients who signed up to get a Sudan Remé for €4 or something, including shipping.
What a cat. Exactly. Oopsie.
They understood, but we also said, this code is going to be active for 2 more months.
Mm-hmm.
We put a restriction to it. I think it was until end of the year from the beginning, but we had to go until November or something.
Yeah.
We were okay, let's make this as a marketing move. And then 2 or 3 days later, after this first initial sign-up wave, when they posted the code on the forum,
exactly.
We got clients in Singapore, China, Taiwan, and it started popping up in different Asian countries. And we realized that people were starting posting, and it the circles on the water kind of spread.
Yeah.
Then suddenly people started signing up in the States, around Europe. And now in total of Standout Coffee, the history of Standout, which is a little over 2 years, 2.5 years, we've now been shipping these boxes to 70 countries.
Oh my god.
And that is crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a few I don't know, dots in our line that shines.
Yeah.
If anyone asks me what you're most proud about this journey or stuff like that, I don't know if I even can count to 70 countries, but it's a lot of countries. One cute story is that the NATO ships is sometimes coming in here for the exercises, and there were a bunch of American army guys who read on Google that we had a coffee roastery, and they just swing by. They bought some coffee, and then one of them signed up for a specialty coffee subscription. And I didn't think about it because it was an American address. Then he changed his address to a box address. And when one order one morning came in, I was like, Pacific Ocean, is that even a country? And I had to Google it, and it wasn't a country. So it was actually the boat who moved.
Oh my
God.
God.
The US Army had an exercise with the Malaysian Army in the Pacific Ocean. So
But I still need my coffee.
I don't know if that is
Sorry,
coffee,
guys,
if that is country 71 or it's 70 countries plus an army boat.
Exactly.
But now we had orders from South Africa to Sri Lanka to Australia, New Zealand, all over Asia. I think we checked almost all countries in Europe, and US, Canada, Brazil. Yeah. I don't know if we have anyone in Argentina, actually. I should check it out.
That's
there
our
must
next
be
move.
an Argentinian
Has to be.
community of coffee. So
Yes,
shout out if
of
anyone knows anyone.
Yeah, please.
I'm glad you hook you up with a with some free months or something. That could be something. We just take all the countries that we don't have, and then just find a barista in each and ship them a free box of coffee. That would be cool, to be able to ship coffee to all countries in the world.
Oh my god, that's a crazy goal. And
that's
I know for a
goal.
fact that it started with you thinking that, we can do the subscription,
Yeah.
we can roast it with our ikava,
Yeah,
50 grams at a time.
I know, I said that.
And you said, that's reasonable, we can just sit for a few hours and just get it done.
But I actually had a quite cool idea from the beginning. With the ikava, we do 50 gram batches. So the idea was to get the 10 last Brewers Cup champions together and make them share or roast an ikava profile of their winning coffee. So the idea was to go on Standout, choose your coffee, you get 50 grams, and then you can choose your winning WBC or Brewers Cup profile.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
And then we roast it on demand.
Yeah.
We joked aside a few weeks ago, like we got an order from China, and I was like, Ella, shouldn't we do it on the kava instead?
Yeah.
And you were like calculating in your mastermind, it will take 4 weeks.
But all right, we can do it. Let's start now. If we work every hour of the day.
I still think that is a quite cool idea.
Yeah, I didn't hear that part. No. That's so better.
And you have like assortment of like 30 or 40 gram choices of the most exclusive stuff, and on top of that you can choose your own roast profile that's based on winning profiles from the last 10 years in Brewers Cup. That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe next step.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I think that,
how do you say, leave a comment down below if
what
you're
do you
interested.
think? Leave an emoji.
So and now we're here. The new Loring is here. We have the leaders, and the only sad part is that you're leaving.
Yep.
Which is bad.
Yeah.
But when you come back, being the student you are, you're always welcome. So I think, I don't know if it covered everything. We can go into, but we should have a part where you ask the same thing for Alex.
Yeah, that's smart.
And to get his story and see how.
Yeah, how they like when you meet up, because it's like bubbles. You meet and then you separate, and then you meet and then something happens, and then you.
And now we're married, so merged into one.
Exactly. Now you're one. Exactly.
Yeah,
one
we
unit.
have a lot of stories about our journey in competitions, because I was coaching him in Bogota and he was coaching me in Melbourne, and we were involved in the scene, and another super proud moment was when Agnieszka won the Worlds in Coffee and Good Spirits with our coffee.
Yes, that's so cool.
And I also quite proud of the growth on Instagram, actually, because when we started 2 years ago, we had like 1,000 followers, and now I think we're gonna hit 10,000 in the end of the year, which is, I think nowadays, if you're not like getting famous in some way, it's a quite remarkable journey in a small pond of coffee. Because there's a lot of roasteries that had a lot of followers like 5 years ago, because 5 years ago you followed everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone kind of just followed everyone in this small kind of bubble. But now when everything changed on Instagram, it's very much harder to get followers. So... but I must mention this reel that you did with Alexander when he opens up the package of XO.
Yeah,
it hit 10,000 views yesterday. Boom! In like a few days.
Yeah, that's crazy. Something happened. Something went viral. So
now we need to do more unboxing videos of all the crazy coffees. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's the only thing I produce on Instagram. Yes. So I think it's my magic youth fingers.
It's been a remarkable journey, and there's of course we can go on forever, but it's crazy to say that I've been in the coffee industry for almost 20 years, half of my life. Yes. And more or less 15 at least. I think for me it started 2008. That's kind of the beginning, kind of when we had 12 Palazzet, and kind of the seed of Standout Coffee was born. And Yeah, it's been a blast. I'm looking forward to next 20 years.
Exactly.
see where we
What would
are.
happen then?
Yeah,
You
what would
completely
happen then?
different place. Yeah.
Great. And where are you heading now?
I'm heading to Gothenburg to study biology, and that's so easy to like combine with coffee. But I'm going to study marine biology, so I'm making it harder to. I don't want to drink the
Coffee is like
seawater.
99% water, so it's the same thing.
Exactly, it's like the same amount.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going, and I'm probably gonna, since I've learned so much from because I came here like by accident. By luck, pure luck, and I learned so much, and it would be such a waste if I just left it behind.
You will come back when you're bored of.
I will come back
when you're bored of frogs. You can come back.
Exactly. I will like, please take me back. Exactly. So, because even though I've been working with you so long and I've learned so much, I didn't even know like half of the things you told me now, and that just means that it's so much more for me to learn. And it's been such an intense 8 months, and the coffee world is so much larger and greater than I ever thought.
And we saw that when we had the cupping with Lance from Say yesterday. The house was filled, and there was both old and new coffee community members.
And from like every part, like everyone was hi, like they all knew each other, of course, but they came from completely different places, and it's just this thing that's unites them.
Super cool.
I just stood in the corner just observing. I was like overwhelmed. It was so.
But I think
cool.
we need more stuff happening like that, because the community is super important, and they are kind of the engine of a lot of content and stuff. So, but I realized when we had a cupping with Lance from Say that we never had an open cupping with our coffees.
No, which is quite strange.
So that will be definitely soon. We should invite everyone down here to actually try our coffees, because it was great having everyone here. And
it was so fun, and just
had coffee from New York instead.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
yeah. So great. I think we have another guest coming in soon. See if I keep it under 1 hour, because now we've been talking for almost an hour. And it was really nice getting this out of me as well. We can have this on maybe like the About Us page. So who is Oskar?
Exactly.
What's his journey?
8 months later. Yeah.
I think I covered most of the stuff. If anyone has any questions, just send us a DM. If I had anything wrong, I'm sorry for the years and some names. But
there's someone who knows everything.
Someone
just
knows
like, this doesn't match up.
Yeah. And I should start saying this more, but please follow us. It will help us a lot to grow on YouTube, especially because it's a new platform for us. And if you like the podcast, share it, because it also helps us reach out in the cloudy internet world.
Yeah.
But I think after vacation now, something has happened. There is more and more traffic. The episodes are now getting like over 1,000 views, which is literally nothing. But still, I was happy for the first
people.
10, and then for the first 100. I know when I had Pierre from a specialist in here, he was like, "Yeah, I'm the #1 podcast."
Yeah, exactly. When this explodes,
we had like 400 or something. But and it's really, I know the episode with Lance, we see a lot of traffic from the States, which is cool. We got a lot of comments, which is also nice. We try to answer most of them. And this is also kind of my like nerd gene, really going full out, because I love this kind of like the technical part of it, to getting the 4K resolution together with the sound, and so it would be great if this could be part of our more daily work as well. I hope so. And
the problem is when we get too many views and we have to hire someone else to do it, and you still want to do it, but I know the perfect way to.
But it's the same thing, like
with packaging, like everything else.
Yeah, I'm like behind the computer doing marketing and doing content.
Ella,
and I'm like, Ella, I'm so tired. Can I please come pack some coffee? And you and Alex are like, no,
get back there. That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
But I kind of love that repetitive work. Thank you so much for asking this question.
Thank you for answering.
Sorry, it went 8 months.
Yes, exactly.
I'm sad
sorry
that you're
as well.
leaving, but I think you will come back. You can come back in the summers.
Exactly. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Ella.